Hello, you guys. I am Sade, or I go by the Barefoot Therapist. I really wanted to jump into this conversation around the recent death of the United Healthcare CEO and how they have been having this really necessary conversation online due to his unfortunate death. It has brought up a lot of feelings people have had anyway. This is not a new conversation, but I surely believe that this is a trigger conversation based on the recent events. So, full context, I am a therapist and have been for about 15 years, but also I am a business owner. I am someone who has been in the business of therapy for a long time, whether that is as a clinician, whether that was as a supervisor, whether that was as someone helping another business, a consultant. I've been in the business of therapy for a pretty good amount of time as well. So I have a perspective that I wanted to share, not only from someone who uses insurance, but from someone who takes insurance and understands the challenges that providers go through due to the way it's set up, how it's set up, what challenges providers face as a result of that. So, again, you guys, let me turn this light on because it looks a little bit dark. Okay, we are in a virtual office today, so hang in there with me. So, due to this recent conversation, I just want to share some perspective. Insurance has always been a challenge for me as an individual. Everything from growing up, always having insurance, my parents were able to take me to the doctor, the dentist, etc. Never understanding the costs associated with that until I became an adult. And I'll never forget when I had to get off my dad's insurance, I went without insurance. And because I didn't have insurance for a period of time, when I met my now husband, he was my boyfriend at the time, I was having asthmatic flares. But if I went to the doctor and tried to get a steroid shot or an asthma pump, I would be charged thousands of dollars if I went to the emergency room, right? So one beautiful thing he did for me at the time was go to the doctor, tell them he was having some of the same challenges I was having. They ended up giving him a steroid shot, unfortunately, but he was able to get my asthma pump. That is one of the most memorable experiences that I have associated with lack of insurance and how costly insurance is in the United States. So now, as a provider, I fully understand the challenge. As a provider, we are constantly being questioned about do you need, if you need, denied claims, the limits on how often you can be seen, the referral back and forth you have to do with, like, for example, with TRICARE, a lot of my folks need a referral. Well, you'll ask why. Well, because I don't know or why this is set up this way. You get paid more to have a referral if you are a certified provider versus the other way around. Why that is, I don't know. On top of the fact that you're already cutting what your normal self-pay cost would be, but because most people have insurance, unless you have an established group of folks that are going to pay out of pocket, which a lot of people, at least contextually where I am, they can't afford that. They can't afford to do it consistently. So we also have to acknowledge that therapy, just like going to the doctor, is expensive because economically things are more expensive. So not only are the insurance companies giving you the runaround, denying claims, you got to then you have a year here to resubmit the claim and try to go back and forth with them to do it. You're now having to pay somebody to do that because guess what? You have to do the job of being the therapist or the doctor in some folks' cases. So now you don't have the resources to go back and forth with these folks. I have limited the insurance carriers I've taken because of all the thousands and thousands of dollars I've lost going back and forth with some insurers. I have lost thousands and thousands of dollars on EAP challenges, on challenges around trying to accept folks and their insurance, trying to bend over backwards to call. You got to get all the benefit information. Then it depends on who you talk to, because they may give you the wrong information. Then they could come again. Here's the other thing, are these clawbacks. So they may absolutely reimburse you. Let's say you have, let's say you have someone who comes to me and gets therapy. The insurance, I bill the insurance company pays me. They have the right to then come back and say, oh, for whatever reason, that is denied and we want our money back. So now I'm in the hole again. This has happened where I've had to give thousands of dollars back for something they've already approved that I've already paid my staff for. So I can't get the money back. Like, it is discouraging. It is unfortunate. It is frustrating as a provider wanting to provide thoughtful, meaningful, helpful, supportive, effective care to people, but your resources are limited. And the challenges you have with insurances are so great and consistent and constant. And you just get exhausted of it. Like, there was a time, maybe a year and a half ago, where I was like, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to close my practice. I don't want to go back and forth with insurance companies anymore. I'm tired of it, trying to explain to my staff the whys behind things, because heck, most of the time I don't even understand the whys. The denials, the reposting, it's just so exhausting to do. It is so costly to do as a provider, trying not only to provide services, but make sure we are reimbursed properly. It is very, very hard to do. And I know for you guys as the consumers, you're like, well, dang, why can't you just charge my insurance? Or, why is it all of this rigmarole around verify my benefits and this, that, and the third? Because one, it can change at the drop of a hat. Two, they can at any point to say that they denied the claim. So I might have already provided the service, but now you've denied wanting to pay me for the service. Again, a loss of money all the way around. And I can tell you, a lot of these providers are not getting rich. I can promise you that. There's a lot of overhead associated with having a practice of any kind. Everything from the internet to insurance to ... And let's not even talk about being a provider and then having insurance and then being denied, or these costs, these ridiculous overhead costs associated with going to the emergency room, y'all. And this is a bit of transparency. About 2 years, maybe a year, no, 2 years ago now, my husband was in transition between going from one job to another. He carries our insurance. Again, I'm a business owner, but he has a traditional job. He carries our insurance. In between that, I was in extreme pain, and I avoided going to the emergency room as much as for days. And I'm not that kind of gal. As soon as I'm in pain, I'm gone. But I avoided going to the emergency room for days because I knew we were in this very small window of, wait, he's about to have insurance. But I just could not. I was in so much pain. I waited in the waiting room for about 6 to 7 hours. 6 to 7 hours I waited in the waiting room, where they would take me back, get my blood, put me back in the waiting room. I was in the hospital room for all of about an hour or two and received a bill for over almost $6,000. I had not kidney stones. What's the other thing called? Was it kidney stones? Something like that. Gallstones. I had gallstones. They didn't want to give me any pain medication. They didn't. And I had to ask for that. Mind you, I was in pain for 6 to 7 hours waiting for them to see me, asking, hey, can y'all do something? I am in an extreme amount of pain. I had to ask them for medication. Ask. Before I left, they gave me Tylenol. I was in that room for about 2 hours, maybe 3. $6,000 later. $6,000 later. And because they said my husband and I made too much money, we were not going to get a discount for services as a result of that. Isn't that wild? So I have to pay you $6,000 for sitting in the waiting room for 7 hours and being in this room for all of 2 or 3 hours. You did not relieve my pain at all. You found that it was gallstones and you sent me on my way. So part of me, of course, is frustrated, angry with the hospital, but I know how insurance goes. They're not going to pay for me to stay any longer. It is get you in, get you out, get you diagnosed. Let's move on. Let's refer you. Let's move on. That is where medicine is. That's where medicine is. Because guess what? If they keep me and they keep doing things that I'm not going to pay for, the hospital loses money. That's what happens. Again, let's circle back to I am a provider. I understand how it goes. I have provided, just based on not being paid for services, over $100,000 of free services, I would imagine, in the lifetime of my career. Probably more than that. Probably more than that. One, you care about your people, you're trying to take care of them, trying to make sure, but there becomes the part of like survival that says, I cannot see you unless you can afford to pay for that. That is a predicament it leaves a lot of providers in. Is I still got to feed me and my family. I still got to keep my job. I still got to pay all these bills, overhead, again, associated with the business. You know, it's really, really hard, even down to folks not even being able to afford their co-pays. Folks not even being able to afford the co-insurance that most of the time they don't even know they have. So if I can make suggestions here for folks with insurance, first of all, become very educated on your benefits. Become very, very educated on your benefits. Does this need to change at a federal level? Absolutely. There should definitely be more influence on the federal level for insurances because they are making money hand over fist. They can deny you and have an excuse for that. And you can appeal it. You can go back and forth with them for months and months and months. There are no guarantees that they're going to approve it. None. But you've used all these resources trying to get a few dollars, trying to just make sure you get your money for the service. Not to mention, there was, I'll pause there. So the suggestions I can give to you all on how to use your insurance is if you have commercial insurance through a job, you can always call and ask them what what the benefit package is, what the offer is. What you always ask, what I would suggest is ask for your co-insurance, ask for your copay. What are your maximum limits? When will they kick in and pay? When will they kick in and pay 100%? And what will they kick in the beginning? If you have a copay, make sure you keep your receipts. Any co-insurance that you pay for, keep those receipts. Those go towards your taxes, write-offs. You want to always ask about EAP, which is employee assistance. They'll sometimes give you free therapy sessions. So you may have a limited amount of free therapy sessions, but I'm going to tell you right now, I would ask and I would use it. A lot of that stuff is use it or lose it. A lot of people don't use, or you have a lot of providers that stop taking EAP because it is not a streamlined process on our end of things to get paid for this service. EAP is completely separate from their general insurance process, which is already difficult enough. On top of the fact that EAPs pay significantly less when, mind you, contractually, your pay rate is already cut due to contractual obligations with the insurance company. They require that you contract at whatever their either agreed amount is or their contracted amount is available at that particular time due to your region, ... It is a farce. It is a game. It is a business. Insurance, if we forget that insurance is meant to save lives, it is the purpose, in my opinion, is to provide people the care that they need. But just know your providers are not the ones becoming millionaires off of insurance companies. They are not. All the rigmarole that has to happen in order to get paid from an insurance company, quite frankly, most often is just quite exhausting. But to be fair, that's your largest income source as a provider because most people are going to have insurance and They're not going to want to pay out of pocket if I have an insurance carrier that's going to pay for it. Again, as the provider, as the business owner, it puts you in a pickle because you need to be paid. You want to be paid, you submit the claims, you just have to be prepared. You have to be prepared. Most insurance companies have designated groups, contracts, sections of their companies that are dedicated to two things: rejection and denials and clawbacks. We want to find any way possible to get our money back. You do one thing we don't like, one thing wrong, one thing we question, one dot, even though you provided the service, even though you did all the things. It's exhausting. I get the healthcare system because I'm in it as a provider and I'm in it as a person. I use it I need to go to the doctor, my children, my husband, we need to go to the dentist. But then again, you have all these different requirements and all, who takes what insurance. That's the other thing. And a lot of times that's based on their interaction or experience with the insurance company. You have a lot of insurance company people just don't want to deal with. So it becomes a hassle and they just decide, I don't want to take that insurance carrier anymore. And I don't blame them. It just creates so much havoc and challenge for the people just trying to get help. Like, we forget insurance is just because people want to get their needs met. Like, their basic needs: psychological, emotional, physical health. And they pay all this money a month to then turn around and have to pay out of pocket all the money on the back end. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I'll say your frustrations are absolutely validated. Your experience is validated. Your feelings are valid. I'm in it. I understand it from both ends of things. Ask questions. Call your insurance company and ask questions. Ask them about your benefits. They also have some benefits, most of them anyway, where if you do just stuff you were going to do anyway, go to the doctor, go to the dentist, stuff like that you could get money back. So one of the things I love looking for that in my personal insurance are ways that I can be reimbursed. And there are, especially with their health programming. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it provided a bit of perspective for you guys, because I do know providers are just as frustrated. I would love for insurance not to be my number one income source, because it is a hassle. It feels like a constant fight, which it shouldn't be, but it is. And then you never know with all these different rules that come out and what's going to happen. It's just constant. I so wish I was a cash-based business. It would make things a whole lot easier, obviously, but please comment, subscribe, share this. If you have any questions, please ask. If I can answer them, I definitely will. If you need resources, let me know. But again, like, subscribe. My name is the Barefoot Therapist. I'll see you next time. Bye.